Hola! Welcome to the Dream Unlocked, boutique coaching for actors, writers, and dreamers. Today, as promised, I'm going to talk about how do you know your script is finished. I got a great question about I need a checklist for how to know that my script is done. Okay? How can I better balance character development and story thrust? It was a great question I got from John McMahon. And then I also got an amazing question from Sashin, I hope I'm pronouncing it right, Sashin, who asked me about, is there a checklist to say that a work is close to completion? I'm going to give you that checklist right now. It's called an outline. Okay? And I talked about the outline last week. So I'm going to talk about it some more today. And if you look in the comments, I have given you the outline, all right, that I like to use. And it's a combination of lots of people's sort of input and some stuff from Save the Cat and a lot of writers, okay? But this is what I found really helped me, is once the first, second or third draft is done, these are the questions. I create the outline after I've written the draft, because I write from a very oral tradition place. So I tell stories into a recorder and then transcribe them. So I actually have lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of copy already, lots of raw material. Part of what helps me structure that is my dreaming out loud technique. And I will put the link here for you to sign up for that, because it's nothing short of amazing. And I outlined how I began writing and finished writing in my TED Talk. And that is what this mini course is about. Let's see if it'll let me. Well, I guess I have to wait until we're done talking in order to put it in. Okay. So I will put that mini course in. It's 3 short videos. It's my TED Talk cut up into, edited into short videos with the workbooks attached. Okay. And I use this dreaming out loud technique to figure out what I wanted to write about, why I wasn't writing, what I'm an expert at, and what the story is I needed to be telling. Because the story I needed to be telling is wrapped up in my purpose and understanding what my major life lessons are here in this lifetime. Once you're clear about that, it makes writing simpler, right? Because the source of writing is you, it's your soul, it's your series of experiences that you've lived here and lived well. You're just infusing them into other characters' lives to tell a story, right? Okay, so what the outline does is take the story that's already within you and put it into a structure. And I believe you should regurgitate all the story that there is and not worry about, is it right? Does it work? Just get it all down on the page. Then organize it into a structure, just outline. And if you are a oral storyteller or a natural person that kind of tells a story, this is going to sing to you, right? If you rely on structure and outside stuff first, this might be a bit of a challenge, but a good challenge, because it will teach you so much about what you already know that you're not accessing, okay? So the first part of the outline is opening image. Your opening and closing image. What are those images? And why are they important? Your opening image is the moral of your story, essentially. It is, what is the protagonist's journey? What do they need to learn? What are they struggling with? It's always metaphorical if it's truly beautiful. I always think of the color purple because structurally he just did brilliant things with visual storytelling. Okay, he totally deviated. Stephen totally deviated from the script, which is fine, which is the original book, because you can only tell one story really well, right, in film. Otherwise, it'll be 17 hours. The opening image, big golden field. The world is broad and wide and beautiful. Okay, broad and wide and beautiful, right? And there's 2 little tiny little girls singing a song, a child's, little rhyme about they'll always be together. And you come up upon them in this big wide open field. And then the next opening scene is about how from the time that they're really little, someone rips them apart and they spend their entire lives trying to get back to that field. And then how does The Color Purple end? These two women are now old women back in that field again. That is the story of The Color Purple. He does it in these glorious images so that you actually feel what the protagonist's struggle is, as opposed to thinking of it literally, right? So once you get your audience start feeling, they automatically enter into the story with you. Because you're talking to the heart, you're not talking to just the mind. You are weaving a parable, okay? A beautiful poetic parable, which is what writing is all about, okay? So you have that opening image. That's what the story is about. And you have the closing. So if you're having trouble with the opening and the closing images, it's because what this story is about, the struggle that the protagonist is here to resolve, is not clear to you, the writer. And it needs to be. Otherwise, the story will lose momentum. It will lose action. It will lose the ability to open up to people and allow them to enter into the story and empathize with your protagonist. Okay? So the first thing is to do some discovery about why you're writing this story and who's it for. And I'm going to break down this outline in small chunks over the next few weeks. I will be back here, same time, same place, same bat channel, every week. And I will discuss a different portion of this outline. So today I have talked about the opening and the closing image. And how I'm going to phrase that is, this story, what is your protagonist here to learn? How are they changed by the end of the story? Okay. Now, The Color Purple uses physical places to create that opening and closing image. It should tell us that the protagonist's journey is to find her way back to herself, but also to her sister and their innocence, to make family, right? Much larger metaphor for Black people who were brought here across the Middle Passage as slaves. Figuring out now, 150 years later, we can go and look at our DNA and see who we're related to, right? So it's a microcosm. You actually don't have to be a Black person as a descendant of slaves to get that idea of, I lost my innocence when I was separated from the person who allowed me to be myself fully. And I spent a lifetime trying to get back to that. It's a beautiful story because it's universal, because it's so specific. It's the hero's journey. How do I find myself, right? How do I see myself? How do I figure out why I'm here? How do I fall in love with myself when I've been fractured, when I was a little kid, when my innocence was snatched away? It's a great metaphor. So I want you to take some time this week. I'm going to keep this short and sweet because I don't want to overwhelm. And I want you to go in to your story. If you haven't written it yet, this is an even better question. Who are you writing about? And what is it that they're trying to figure out? Okay, that's the first question. Second question is, what is the fatal flaw? What is the part of them that is broken, that is not allowing them to figure out this story? Okay, so let's go back to The Color Purple, since so many people have read it or watched it. It's Celie. Celie gets separated from her sister, who was always the protective one. And when she gets separated from her sister, she can no longer see herself. She only sees herself as other people see her, right? Other people being like the stepfather, and then the husband, and the brothers and the sisters. Everybody sees her as a workhorse meant to do something for them. And that's how she begins to see herself. It is only when another woman comes into the picture like her sister and who can see her beauty and sign it out that Celie can then see herself. But it's the inability to see herself as valuable, as beautiful, as wonderful that is her fatal flaw, right? And the thing that incites that is the separation from her sister. Because when she had her sister and they were little girls, they exactly knew who they were. They were tough and they weren't taking any prisoners, right? And see, the sister was like, you will not separate me from my sister. I would spend the rest of my life getting back to her. And that's exactly what she does. She's like, I'm going to Africa because y'all are really hanging and lynching and screwing Black people up. So I'm going to go to Liberia and be a missionary so I can find myself. And then I'm going to come back and get my sister. All right, it's a great story. So again, I want you to work on your opening and your closing image this week. Who's your protagonist? Where are they broken? What has broken them? Okay. And then what are they going to spend the rest of this story trying to heal? That's all the opening and closing images are. So I want you to think of that in literal terms, and then I want you to create a metaphor visually that I can see. Right? And here's an exercise that may help you. I want you to go watch your favorite movie. Okay? I want you to identify who the protagonist is, okay? What their fatal flaw is, and what the opening image is, and what it's telling us about the story. And then the closing image, and what that image is telling us about how the protagonist's journey has changed and come to completion. Okay, go. Now, when I come back next week, I'm going to talk about the inciting incident, and I'll give you a clue about the inciting incident. The inciting incident is a thing that puts your story into motion. The inciting incident, thank you. Who's that just joined me? Do you have questions? Hi, Lana. The inciting incident is what makes your story start. It's the moment before the opening moment. And the inciting incident has everything to do with the protagonist and what they need to learn. The inciting incident is a thing that sets the protagonist's journey into motion. It's the problem that causes the protagonist to have to act. Okay? So, go find your favorite movie, identify the opening and closing image, identify what it is that the protagonist needs to learn and where they're broken. All right? And then let me know how it goes. If you sign up for the Dreaming Out Loud mini course and you take the first 3 mini courses and you do the workbooks and you send them to me, guess what? I will respond with answers. And what that mini course is about going inside you and figuring out what you're an expert at, right? The places where you're broken and the kinds of people that you write really well about. If you do this Dreaming Out Loud technique, you will discover what the writing blocks are, and you will discover the way to go around or through them, and that everything you need you already have. So if you go and you do that exercise, you send me the workbooks. At the end, there's a short survey. The questions that I answered today, John's and Sharon's questions, came from that survey, right? So they went in, they did the survey, and then they asked me questions, and then I respond in these videos. This is your chance to get free writing coaching from me. So I will put the link here. Go in, do the 3 videos. They're like 9 minutes each, and there's workbooks. You can download them, and there's a link to email me the workbooks. When you have emailed me all the workbooks and you answer the survey questions, I will then come back in next week's video and answer your questions. You can ask me about anything. All right? Let's do this, people. Do you have questions today? Does anybody have anything they want to weigh in? Well, I see some comments. What the comments is saying? Let's see what the comments is saying. I'm trying to access them. For some reason, it won't let me see them. Okay, comments from Juana. Why isn't it letting me see the comments? Oh no. Oh no. From Juana and Anthony. For some reason or another, it's not letting me see the comments. That's so strange. Okay. Well, if there's comments, if you have questions, if you want to post them here. Does anybody have anything? If you want to post them here, I will come back and I will answer them, since for some reason it won't let me see them while I'm working on this. Okay, my beauties. New comment. Oh, did it let me see it? No. Oh, hi, Gina. Okay, I can't figure this out. Well, if you, let me see if I can see it on my phone. Questions. You can always post them in the comments here. I will also answer that way as well. Let's see if I can see this live video.